Hello, my name is Carmack, and I think a lot of people don't know about the different masking modes. There's add, subtract, intersect, lighten, darken, and difference. I'm going to today tell you which each one does. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So the first step to understanding masking modes is creating a mask, which we all know is by grabbing the pen tool. I've imported the Adobe After Effects logo, and we will use this as the example. I'm going to create a mask around the A. When you close off a mask, you'll see that everything except what you've cut out stays there. And if you hit M twice, this drops down the masking menu. So you'll see that by default, the masking mode that it's on is add. If I set it to none, you can see the Adobe logo again. So if you add, you can see your mask. If you select none, the mask you created doesn't do anything. You can just see where it is. And so the reason why switching it from add to none can be really helpful is now I can mask out the E while being able to see the logo and see the other mask. And bam, once you have masked out the E, you'll notice that the A is now gone. It's because we set the masking mode to none. So if we just switch that back to add, you'll now see that we have the A and the E because both masks on this layer are on the add blending mode. If I selected none for both of them, you guessed it, you would just see the original clip. So now let's set these both back to add. And now I'll tell you how we would use subtract, the subtract masking mode. This takes away from the current masks you've created. And so now if on the same layer I create a mask where the inside of the A is, because I just want this texture, I've now created this mask, but since it's naturally on add, you can see that nothing's happened. But if I come down to the masking mode and hit subtract, you can now see that what I've done is get rid of the place where mask 3 was. So if I go to add, nothing happens. But if I select subtract, it gets rid of anything within the mask you've already made. And so now if I wanted to get rid of the inside of the E, I would just start creating a new mask like this. Nothing happens until you go down to the masking menu and hit subtract. So that's add and subtract. You can take things out of a clip completely with just adding a mask, cut something out. But if you want to edit that mask further, let's say there's something within your mask you need to mask out, you would just use the masking mode subtract. You're basically cutting out what else you want to be cut out. So that's add and subtract. I'm gonna go ahead and delete all of these masks to show you the next one. So I'm just gonna create a circle around the A, and then I'll just guess right here and have the circle around the E. So you can see the A and the E here are both on add blending modes. Now let's say we wanted to cut through the entire logo. If I create a new mask going straight through the masks I've already made, you can see that the adding blending mode just adds everything on top. But if you go to intersect, it actually cancels out all the other masks around it. So if I set it to add, you know that adds everything to it. But once you go intersect, that new mask you've just made will now cut off the mask you've created. And now just another example, I can create a new mask across this A here. And if I select it to intersect, you can see that it just only selects the things where those two masks come together. Oh shit. Fuck. And so that's intersect. You can take two brand new masks that say add, and you make a third one. This little bar across here, you just hit intersect, and it will basically mask out all the masks you've made with the new one. And now it's time to teach you the exact opposite of intersect, which is difference. And so I have right here my A and my E masked out. And now if I create a mask right here on the bottom of it, it naturally has add. So we get everything we've just masked out on top. And so if we select difference, what that does is it takes all the masks that are linked together, and where the masks are, they actually do the opposite of intersect. They take away. So that's the difference masking mode. It basically subtracts the masks you've made from the new mask you created. And so you can move it around and just see where, you know, this. And now for the ones you're gonna use the least amount, which is lighten and darken. This one only has to do with opacity, because in the masking menu, you can change specific mask's opacity. And let me explain to you where darken and lighten would actually ever come into play. So let me create a few shapes here. And so if I hit M twice and drop down the menu, I'm gonna change all the opacity of these masks to 50. And so now that all of these masks have an opacity of 50%, they're kind of see-through. And so if I drag them on top of each other, you'll notice that the opacity from both changes it to 100%, because you have a 50% opacity on top of another 50% opacity. You hate to see it. And so what we can do is if I switch this green one here, let me switch them all to lighten. What it does is it takes the opacity that you've now created, or the difference between your opacities, and it blends them in together. And so you're not stacking different opacities, you're just laying them directly right next to each other. And then for our final masking mode, we have darken. I've set up this little scene here where we have 3 masked out circles. All of these different masks are at a different opacity. And so previously, when we had 3 masks come together, the opacities would stack and it would basically, it was annoying. So we fixed that by lighten, because it spreads out the opacity between the masks as even. What this does is it gives you the option to be even or whatever. So I have these 3 circles on add. If I change this green one right here on the bottom left, if I switch this to darken, what this gives me the opportunity to do is as I go up and down with the opacity, I'm actually deciding just that one mask, how its stackable opacity affects the other 2 layers. And so instead of evening out the opacity between the masks that it's overcrossing, giving you the option if you want it to be even or darker or lighter. So where the 2 areas stack right here and right there, you're not actually doubling up on opacity. You're having this green mask match the opacity of those other 2 layers, if that makes sense. So darken gives you an option to match the other layer's opacity, even if one of them is different. And you know what? I think that might be it. That's none, add, subtract, intersect, lighten, darken, and difference. I don't know if anyone's ever explained to you what those masking modes do, but now you know. This sponsored video is by Squarespace. And this video is sponsored by Squarespace. All right, so now it's time for me to tell you everything I love about Squarespace. First of all, how about its members-only content? You can connect with your audience and generate revenue through members-only content. With this, you can manage your members, send them email communications, and leverage audience insights, all on one easy-to-use platform. And as an artist myself, I like being able to showcase my work to the world, like this video, but you can also do that with Squarespace's galleries and portfolios. I mean, if you're an artist and you want to display your work to the world and show people, I can't think of a better option than Squarespace, because they have award-winning, did I say that right? Award-winning designer templates. So when you put your work into these portfolios and galleries, they already even look more professional. It's a great place to start. And if you're a social guy like me and you use YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and all those social medias, you can use your Squarespace website to publish your social posts. So if you have like a dedicated audience who enjoys your website for more than products, but maybe your personality, you can upload your social posts there too. And so basically from your website, you can use Squarespace to push traffic to your other social medias. And those are all the reasons why I love Squarespace. You can go to squarespace.com/Will Carmack or the top link in the description below to get 10% off your first website or domain. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Squarespace. They're everywhere, because I'm in the internet. And I hope you learned a lot about masking modes. I've been wanting to make a video about this forever, because I didn't know, and I taught myself so I could teach you. There we go. Educated. Where there's a will, there's a way. My name is Will, and have a nice day. My God, I talk too much.